Claude Code is faster, but Codex writes code that's almost production ready. The problem: choosing the wrong one costs you hours every week. Here's what I discovered using both for months. We will move through this path. The real difference between the two: speed vs reliability. Real numbers from the field: why Codex makes you feel useless, the plugin that unites both worlds, money, plans, and the barrier to entry. Claude Code and Codex are two opposite development philosophies, and if you don't distinguish them right away, you lose hours. Let's start with a fact. Claude Code and Codex are not two versions of the same product. They are two completely different development philosophies. Claude Code is an agent that lives in your terminal. It has direct access to your file system, Git and Shell. But most importantly, it asks for permission before every action. It's a copilot that guides with you, not for you. Codex, on the other hand, is a cloud agent. You give it a task, it disappears into an isolated container, works autonomously, and comes back with finished code. It asks you nothing during execution. It's a remote developer to whom you delegate an entire piece of work. This architectural difference is the mother of all other differences. Speed, reliability, cost, everything flows from here, and if you don't understand it right away, you risk using the wrong tool for the wrong task. Something, spoiler, I did for weeks. The question you need to ask yourself isn't which is better, it's how much control am I willing to trade for autonomy? Because that's exactly where the game is played. From the real difference between the two to speed vs reliability, real numbers, Claude Code is faster, but Codex Code is almost production ready. Here are the real numbers. Now, the question everyone asks, which is faster? The short answer is Claude Code. But be careful, because speed comes at a price. A Reddit user reported a very interesting experience. After about 100 hours with Claude Code and 20 hours with Codex, their verdict was clear. Claude Code moves much faster, but requires constant guidance. You have to be there, give directions, correct course. Codex is slower. It takes more time to process, reason, and execute, but the code it produces is much cleaner, almost production ready. Another user said it clearly: Codex is slower but produces code that's more or less ready. So the trade-off is DC execution speed vs output quality. Claude Code gets you going faster in the short term, but you might have to clean up the code afterward. Codex makes you wait, but what it delivers is more solid. And it's not a small difference. If you're building a quick prototype, Claude Code speed is gold. If you're working on code that will go into production tomorrow, Codex's reliability becomes crucial. From speed vs reliability, real numbers, to why Codex makes you feel useless. Codex asks you nothing. And that's both its superpower and its Achilles heel. There's an aspect of Codex that initially threw me off. It asks you nothing. I ran a test documented by XDA developers. Same prompt, same task, given to both tools. Claude Code started asking me questions. Which apps do you want to block exactly? Do you want to save the text somewhere? What word count do you prefer? Codex, zero questions. It read the prompt, understood the context, and started building. It explained each step as it did it, but never interrupted me for clarification. This is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's super convenient. You delegate and forget. On the other, if the prompt wasn't crystal clear, Codex might take a direction you didn't want, and you only realize it at the end when it's already done. Claude Code, with all its questions, forces you to think before executing. It's slower in the setup phase, but reduces the risk of having to redo everything. In practice, Claude Code keeps you in the loop. Codex kicks you out of the loop. The choice depends on how much you trust your initial prompt. From why Codex makes you feel useless to the plugin that unites both worlds. There's an official OpenAI plugin that lets you use Codex inside Claude Code, and it completely changes the way you And here comes the twist. OpenAI released an official plugin that lets you use Codex directly from Claude Code. It's called Codex Plugin CC. It's open source on GitHub, and it installs in 2 minutes. Once active, you have / commands like Chuda Codex Review, which does a read-only code review, or Ask Codex Adversarial Review, which challenges your design and implementation choices. There's also Does Codex Rescue, which is basically help me Codex when you're stuck, and you can launch tasks in the background with the background option. So Claude Code keeps working while Codex processes in parallel. The requirement: a ChatGPT subscription, even the free plan, or an OpenAI API key, and Node.js 18 or higher. This plugin is interesting because it breaks the dichotomy. You no longer have to choose exclusively one or the other. You can stay in your Claude Code workflow and call Codex when you need a second pair of eyes, or when you want to delegate a specific task without switching environments. In fact, the boundary between the two tools is thinning, and that brings us to an uncomfortable question. From the plugin that unites both worlds to money plans, and the barrier to EIN. Let's talk prices, because there's a huge practical difference here. Codex is available even on the free plan of ChatGPT. You can start using it without paying a cent. If you like it, you move to a paid plan for more usage. Claude Code, on the other hand, requires a paid account, period. There's no free trial. The only way to try it for free is if someone sends you a referral link. In practice, this is a big deterrent. Many people I know have never tried it for this very reason. A comparison article published in September 2025 said clearly, Codex still wins on integration with GitHub and pricing. Claude Code has caught up with better UX, a VS Code extension, and a web IDE, but the economic barrier to entry remains. Then there's the operational cost question. Claude Code runs on Token API, so you pay based on how much you use. The lesson connects into this map. Claude Code and Codex are two opposites of development. Claude Code is faster, but Codex's code is almost. Codex asks you nothing, and that's both its superpower, and there's an official OpenAI plugin that lets you use Codex money plans, and the barrier to entry. If you want a direct comparison with Cursor, or want to know how I integrate these tools into my daily workflow, let me know in the comments. In the meantime, subscribe and hit the bell. I publish a video like this every week. Subscribe to Techie Talk AI and try Mnemonic free at Mnemonic app, made with Mnemonic.